All right. So welcome to another episode of Is This Thing On? We have a guest here by his nickname is Traffic.
Traffic.
Yes. But do you want to say your real name? Or no?
Yeah. My name is Jeffrey Long.
Jeffrey Long?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it was pretty interesting to see like the Jeffrey episodes. That was pretty.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Are you even peeping that? Yeah.
Yeah. I like it a lot. It's like what you see out there, but it's not. It's like its own thing, and I like it a lot, especially like the edits and the art behind it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You could tell there's some like love put behind it.
Yeah, I do all the edits.
Do you?
Yeah, I do all the edits for it. Me and my guy, Isaac West, he really kind of came up with the concept.
Okay.
Pitched it to me, and we kind of talked about it and maneuvered some, things around to make it work for both of us. And yeah, we just been going full force with it we literally just came up with the idea and was like, let's just do it.
Yeah,
there was not a lot behind that. We just jumped in.
Yeah, it's kind of like what I did with this podcast.
Okay.
Yeah, like I just thought about it one day and just like everything's been like running smooth. It's weird. It's just like I think it's meant to be kind of thing.
That's true. I was just about to say when it's meant to be, it just happens. And there's certain things I feel like you try to do in life that you bust your... Can you cuss on here?
You can cuss, yes.
All right. So it's certain things you try to do in life where you bust your ass and you feel tired. You feel run down.
Yeah.
Then there's other things that you bust your ass doing and you just feel more life.
Yeah.
From doing it.
Yeah.
And that's how you know it's meant to be yeah.
That's how I felt about this podcast because it's I've had a lot of different job backgrounds, but I think I've come to the point where I'm just tired of working for the man kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to tap into my creative side because I've never really done that.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, maybe I could just start this podcast because I do like talking to people a lot. So
well, congratulations on that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. That's exciting.
Yeah, I have big plans for it, but we'll see how it goes. It's just, there's what you want to do, and then there's money, and it's just
gotta pay the bills. Yeah, I get you. But you're doing it. That's the right direction to be in.
I'm starting off running for sure.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So people that don't know this podcast, the first few episodes I'm gonna say what it's about. So this podcast is basically overcoming lows in your life and how you've overcome them or still trying to overcome it because there's stuff in your past that could still kind of weigh you down.
Right.
You know what I mean? So tell us a little bit about your background and how you got to where you are today.
Really, it was so I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, and I moved to LA 2005. And then I came back here right before COVID, kind of got stuck here. And then I landed a gig making decent money. So I was like, okay, I'm going to stay, thug it out and stack up some money and then still try to pursue what I'm doing out here. So I'm really into music. I'm into the arts. And doing the music thing is great. I mean, being in LA, I met so many incredible artists. I've worked with different record labels. But at the end of the day, it's really the connections. It's about the money that's behind you, what's pushing you, marketing, promoting. There's so much other stuff that goes into it aside from just the talent. I mean, you and I both know there's a lot of we both know a lot of talented artists.
Yes.
And unfortunately, a lot of these talented artists will never make it to maybe the place that they want to get to.
Yeah.
And it sucks, but that's just the nature of it. So for me, doing the other things that I've been doing, and many conversations with my producer for this Jeffrey's House, we kind of were like, yo, let's try a different direction for a little while and see where this kind of takes us. So everything is just a tool for the next step for something else. Nothing is really necessarily permanent.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean that in the sense of even with that Jeffrey's House, it's not necessarily permanent. It's for the right now. And we're going to definitely take it to where we could take it to. But that's not the stop. That's not the end goal.
How you have Jeffrey House set up is definitely there's going to be doors opening up to bigger things. I feel like
that's kind of the point of it.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely. Like I'm kind of hoping with this podcast, it's just like it opens doors to stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But we shall see what happens.
It definitely will.
You said that you met a lot of people in LA, like a lot of great artists and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about Cleveland too, that people really sleep on Cleveland. There is a lot of talented artists.
Man, that's the big conversation
in
that
many
I always
ways.
hear.
It could be music, it could be modeling, it could be drawing. There's so many.
Dance, photography, videography.
Yeah. But it's just hard for them to get like above because it's like I think it's a lot of levels to it. It could be money.
Mm-hmm.
It could be other artists trying to tear down other artists.
Mm-hmm.
I see a lot of that, especially in the music industry. It's very weird to me. It's just like, you guys are so talented. Like, push that to the side.
Mm-hmm.
You know, really like try to build each other up. It's just sad, really. It is.
It is. I promise on everything I love. It was like 3 a.m. last night, and I was having this same talking with my director for like an hour.
Oh, wow.
Literally about that. Before I left, we talking about like 2005 now.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in the art game. Like when I went to high school, I went to School of Arts.
Mm-hmm.
And I went for art, drawing. And I went to college for drawing.
Mm-hmm.
But I was also into music and dance. But even back then, it was the same conversation. I come back here like 15 years later. And when I first came here, I was still in the LA mindset. And what I mean by that is when I was in the music circuit out there, knowing all the artists and the who's,
mm-hmm.
you develop this networking skill.
Mm-hmm.
So I came back to Cleveland with that same mindset, that same type of spirit, like, man, let me get out here and network and da-da-da-da. Most of the people I would run into, I would go show love, and they'd be looking at me like it was like a weakness. Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you, like, get off of my dick? Like, why are you?
And it could be intimidation too, because it could be like you're so forward, people are just probably not used to it.
That's true.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of layers to that as well.
That's true. Yeah.
And it's just like, I'm not even here for that. I just really like, let's just do something, you know?
Yes, showing love. But then that showing love stuff, like, kind of, do you have action behind it? Because some people do that, but there's no real action behind it.
That's very true.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah.
I see people like just kind of use people to come up to in Cleveland. And that's like, and then that makes kind of people like refrain back like, nah, you know what I mean? That's probably could be it too, because they've been played so many times. They're
that's
like,
true.
Who's this dude? He's probably up to something. And you're just genuinely being kind. Like, nah, like I'm just here to show love, you know? And
yeah, that's the part, because that's kind of finicky. And that's touchy because it could be both. Like,
yeah,
of course, when you're meeting somebody and networking, you are using the person essentially. You want to use the person essentially.
Yeah.
But how can you be of service to that person is the part.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't want to be of service to nobody. People don't want to put in the work for somebody else as well. So it's like, I don't know, let's say, I don't know, like I do music and I want to link with somebody that's doing music. What can, like, if I come to you, like, I'm going to bring everything that I have to the table.
Mm-hmm.
So I come to you and I'm like, let's work on such and such. What are you going to bring to, I'm coming to you because obviously I want something that you have, you bring it to the table. I'm going to show you what I'm bringing to the table. How can we work together to build?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just feel like some people is really kind of snaky in that way where they're going to come to you, try to offer, we could work together, collaborate, but they really not putting nothing in.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I feel like what you're saying is a lot of times is that.
Yeah, definitely true. Like I've seen like artists like try to give that same love to people, but they get dismissed. But once they like see they're on stage and their music is actually really good and they're about to take pictures, that person just like pops up and just takes a picture next to them. And it's just like, that's weird. Like, why are you doing that? Like, why couldn't you show me love from the beginning? Kind of thing. Cleveland does definitely move in a weird way.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully they get out of that. Because Cleveland does have a lot to offer, for sure.
I definitely agree. I think to like kind of dive into that for like a quick second.
Go ahead.
I feel like the weather plays a big part in that. I feel I feel like the weather out here is so depressing that it's like you have no choice but to try to find your light, try to be creative. It's so gray here. We have to add some color to the city. So it's like I feel like that sparks that growth.
Yeah.
Or
like
that,
here,
that
like
artist development.
Yeah, like what they have here at this studio, like they push for people to come and be like creative. That's why I kind of like the studio. It's just like, oh, this is different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just like, I want to, my plans in the future is like, I want to try to incorporate that in some way. I'm still trying to figure out what exactly that is, but it's like, it just is needed.
Yeah.
So that's out there. It's glad that you're here trying to push that.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. So when you talked about, you've met a lot of creative people, can you talk about any specific artists or creatives who have inspired or influenced your own artistic expressions?
Here in the city?
Anywhere. Anytime.
Honestly, I genuinely mean this. Like, I know it's gonna sound so like BS, but literally anybody, like if I go to a show or if I'm out and I meet an artist, I pick up on everything from somebody. I'm really like optimistic, and it could be the whole lineup of artists that's at a show. I'm gonna pick something from each of them artists that I really like. It's gonna be something I find that in somebody. You know what I mean? Even if it's trash, even if it's somebody that's like, man, you are perpetrating big time. Like, this is not who you are, and we can clearly see it. But your stage performance might be amazing, or your delivery might be on point. But it's obvious that you're perpetrating a whole nother persona.
Yeah.
But I will still pick that out and be inspired by that.
You put them to the side, like, look, we need to have a conversation.
Yeah, but that might not be for me to tell them. You know what I mean? 'Cause
Some
people might be like not ready for that conversation.
That's true.
But I could feel my way through that. Yeah.
You should be like a guide to that, though. Like, hey, maybe you need to.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes if we get lost in the conversation, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely.
So how has your relationship with art evolved over time? Have you found that it's become more integral part of your healing process or like self-care routine?
Wait, explain integral? Yeah,
like important part of like it's important.
Healing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep it real with you. I think that there's just like a two answer question, two answers to that. Like, one, when I was younger, I had a really a lot of us had, but like I had a pretty traumatic childhood. So I think I used art as an escape. I used to draw like all the time. And I think I definitely used that as an escape. It was like my drug. It was my simulation, my escape into the Matrix or whatever.
Yeah.
Or from the Matrix, whatever. My form of meditation. So like I used that to escape, I think. And I didn't realize that probably till within the last couple of years that I was doing that. And it was good because I created a really great skill with the art, but it was also bad because I didn't know how to cope with shit outside of having art. So like if I never had art, I probably would have developed a better coping mechanism when it came to trauma. And then I went from art and like dancing. That was like my first two loves: art, dance, storytelling, and then to like music, and then to like learning how to edit, engineer, doing the graphics for the Jeffrey's house, setting that whole production up. It's really a mindset thing.
Yeah.
Like if you're an artist, and I was a tattoo artist before I used to cut hair, like it's all a form of my expression. I think a lot of artists are like, true artists are like that. They find that they could do these many different things. It's really the mind, like the way that the mind works. So my mind does work different, but I just so happen to have the type of mind that like can operate in those ways, those like creative ways, the problem solving. It's really problem solving.
Yeah.
Art, like for me, my artistry is problem solving.
Yeah.
How could we go
I
from
think
here
that's
to
a
here?
great, you said that like you probably would have had a better coping mechanism with like everything you went through. I think that's why I looked at you kind of funny, because it was like, I think that is a great coping mechanism, because it's like people that usually deal with traumatic childhoods go to like alcohol, drugs, and stuff like that. So it really could have went a totally different way.
Absolutely.
To be honest.
No, for sure. You know, I definitely grew up in a household where my parents was on drugs, you know what I mean? And for a long time. And I grew up in that whole world heavy. So everybody else that I know that I grew up with that had a similar life, they are definitely on drugs, died from drug overdoses, in jail, in the streets still, and we're grown, you know. So it's like, I'm thankful, like me and my siblings, none of us fell victims of that, and I'm surprised. But we made it through that without coming to that. But for me, like I said, I do feel like the art was great. I developed a great skill and a beautiful gift to share with the world, to share with other people. But on the flip side, it's like, there's a downside to that. I hear what you're saying. I get you. I just feel like if I don't have the art, and I've taken a break from that. Literally, I took a break from that on purpose to learn how to cope with life without using that. You know,
was it a challenge?
Definitely, but I like that. I like a challenge, and I like the hard shit.
So what did you do then? If you didn't have the art, you put that to the side. What avenues did you take to cope with things?
I don't know how, like, better way to say it other than to just like plunge into it. Just plunge into the pain, like dive into the pain, face it head on, and just like take it on. Like, don't be afraid of it. Don't run from it. Like, this is life. And I, you know, through a lot of things that I've been through, I've been blessed to be able to come out through the other side, you know, with the certain things I've been through. So it's like, I'm like, shit, bring it on. Let's go. Yeah. Like, if this is what we got to deal with, come on, let's go.
And sometimes those are very hard to face when you ain't got nothing else around and you got to face it. It's like, damn.
No, it's tough. And I know that not everybody is ready for that at different stages in their life. And it takes getting knocked down to build to that.
Yeah.
So that's not for everybody necessarily, but for me, it's like, I knew that was something I needed to do personally. You know, I wouldn't recommend that for everybody, you know, if they're going through the same thing. But shit, for me, I just felt like I need to develop that skill, thick skin, you know what I mean, in a different way. So,
but that's a good thing, though. I'm also in that stage the past like couple years, because I've come from kind of the same background. I had parents that were like on drugs and stuff like that. So I'm finally facing stuff and I'm starting to realize things. And sometimes it's hurtful, you know, like you just by yourself, just like bawling, like what the hell, you know, kind of thing. And it's definitely challenging, but it's worth it because it feels like a weight is like off your shoulders and off your chest.
How did you cope with that?
I'm still coping.
Okay.
You mean like now?
I mean, I would say through your before, okay, like when you was a kid, how did you cope? And then now
I didn't cope.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the thing. I didn't. I know I read and stuff like that, but I don't think I coped with it. I don't think I realized what was really going on to me mentally. Like, it took therapy. Like, it was like a couple years ago, I like went to therapy and I told her about these things that I struggle with. And she was like, that's a sign of depression. And she was like, how long have you been dealing with this? I was like, since I was a kid. And she was like, you're highly depressed and you don't realize it. You know, I think they called it like, what is it? Like active depression or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Or I forgot what she said exactly, but I was like, I've been depressed. And then she like told me a bunch of other stuff too. And it's like all the puzzles like clicked. I'm like, what the hell? Like, I didn't even realize that.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like therapy helped me see a lot of stuff. And I'm starting to surround myself with people that I know that like honestly love me. I think I've been surrounded by people that like brought me down and I didn't realize it because I'm such a loving person to the people I care about. I'm also very forgiving.
Yeah.
So I just like kind of let things go or let it slide or, oh, that's their personality. And it took people to be like, nah, Ty, like, that's not cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm just like,
I think a lot of people on the outside don't know, and I'm pretty sure you heard this term, or maybe I don't know if you're familiar or not familiar, of codependency.
No, I'm not. No.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I haven't fully read it, but there's a book called Codependency by, I don't think she coined the term codependency. I could be wrong. I don't know. I think her name's Meredith something. I'll put you on though. I'll hit you with the book title. And it's a great book. I haven't read like the last 2 chapters.
Okay.
However, it's a great book, and basically codependency, it's tough to have a specific definition, and even in the book it says that there's not a specific definition. But basically what it is most people, like let's say it's a husband and a wife, and the husband is an alcoholic and he behaves a certain type of way, and the wife is always forgiving of him, and oh, he just has a drinking problem and it'll be all right. Like, he may beat her, he may like take all the money that they supposed to pay the bills with and be doing XYZ with it because he got an addiction. But she's like saying it's okay, being very forgiving, being accepting of his stuff, and she's getting shit on like the whole time that she's in a relationship. But the codependent part is like, she's actually sick too. They saying that drug or addiction is a disease.
Mm-hmm.
She's got a disease in a sense too, but it comes from the trauma of that.
That would make sense, because that was like a lot of my childhood. Like my stepmom would always like, my dad would do just like the wildest shit, and she just always still brought him back home and stuff. Like, so that makes a lot of sense now that you said that.
And then kids
like
develop
a light
it.
just clicked.
Oh yeah, kids develop it too. From seeing it from like maybe your stepmom or just dealing with directly from maybe your father, and you develop that same type of thing. Like, we played this game where like, I love you, and then you're like, I don't know how it was for you, but that addiction game is always like,
it's crazy.
It's like they go out, they use, or they get messed up, and then they go through this pattern of trying to get clean and get sober, and you're like hopeful, and you're like, yes, and things are okay for a while, and then
it goes right back.
It goes back, and then you're just on this roller coaster, and you become jaded by that, definitely over time, but you also develop that codependency.
That makes a lot of sense.
I'm gonna have to shoot you that.
Yeah, I definitely have to read that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, because my dad, he would, he was an alcoholic and a drug addict. What drug? I don't know. I don't really care to know. But he would be like gone for a while, come back. It would be like arguments. It would be like he would just do like crazy stuff, and then like he'll be cool for a while, trying to get he was clean, doing whatever, and then he just go right back to it. Like, he would steal from the home just to like get money, just to get whatever fixed, because nobody wanted to give him money, and it was just like a lot of crazy stuff like that. Like, I remember one time, I had one of my uncles had bought me like, it was like a garbage bag full of clothes, like all brand new. I was so excited because I didn't have like clothes like that, so I like hung them up. The next day I was at school, like, when I get home, I'll try all these clothes on, model them out. And when I got home, all the clothes were gone.
I know you was
I was so
crushed.
I was very crushed. Damn. But yeah, it was like, that was the type of environment I was in. It's definitely dealing with parents that have addiction is a difficult road for sure. It's still kind of difficult for me. Yeah. Even though he's trying to, he's changed his life around a lot, but it's hard to accept him fully.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Everybody's relationship with their parents is different.
Yep.
And like, I know that. So what I want to say something, I want to touch on that real quick. And I know for a lot of people, this is hard to do. I get it. I promise I get it. For me, I always been cool with my parents, for real. Like, they always, as much bullshit as they've done, and it's been a lot, they've always been supportive. I can say that, and I'm fortunate to have that. But I think when I first moved to LA, before that, dealing with that, I dealt that with my whole childhood, teenage years, and then it just continued. But when I first moved to LA, for the first few years, there would be like lengths of time I wouldn't hear from my parents. They wasn't together no more, you know what I'm saying? But like, it'd be like a year would go by and I ain't hear from them. I'd try to reach out, or their number got disconnected or whatever it was. And I'd be like, damn, like, I almost wish they was dead so I knew where they were at.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, 20, 21, 22, and like, I'm like bawling, crying. I would have them moments where I'd be balling up, crying, like, damn, I just wish I knew what was going on. I don't know what's going on. And finally, I just had a breaking point where I had other, like my homies or whatever, we all kicking it. And when you at that age, like late teens, early 20s, and people is out like partying, drinking, they might do drugs or whatever, you not thinking that like my friends are addicted.
Mm-hmm.
They have addiction problems. You just think we all kicking it. They like to get fucked up or whatever. And it hit me like, if I can go and get my homie out of a pinch, or like my homie's fucked up or he's somewhere and I got to go pick him up, scoop him up, somebody talking about they want to commit suicide, and I could be there for them and I could love them as a friend and accept them as a friend, then why can't I do the same for my parents?
Mm.
That those certain feelings kind of went away of like, our parents are like our heroes. They're like these godlike figures when we're kids. So long story short, let me cut to the chase. So like got in touch with like each of my parents in 2 different conversations, and I basically told them like, look, I accept you for what you do. I love you. Like, you're my parent at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Like, if I could love my friend, why can't I just have this love with you and just accept you for what you are? You're a human. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to do X, Y, Z just like I am. None of us is perfect. I had to separate the idea that you're my parent. At the end of the day, you're just another human living the human experience on earth. You're going to do what you're going to do, and I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And like, for me, I think it's best to just accept you for where you're at. And if I call you and you're high and you don't pick up the phone, I'll be pissed off. Just pick up the phone.
Yeah.
I know you're ashamed, but like, that's what you chose to do. Don't be ashamed of it.
Yeah.
Shit, I just want to have a conversation with you and see. I just want to check in and say I love you. That's it.
Yeah.
So I had that conversation with each of them, and the conversation didn't necessarily go just as I said it, but it pretty much was that concept. And ever since, like, we've been locked in. I ain't got no hate for them. I really ain't got no hate for nobody. Like, people do fucked up shit all the time. It's like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It ain't that serious. At the end of the day, I gotta do what I gotta do for me, and that's it.
Yeah.
I don't have to like dive in and like into that pain and that hurt, that emotional thing that you receive from that, because I feel like that's kind of controlling. Like, you want somebody to be a certain way for you, but like, that person is who they are. They're gonna be what they're gonna be, and you can't control that.
Yeah. They say that, like, I just heard something about that somebody said, I think I saw it on TikTok or something, that you start to become like happy in life once you let go of control.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So in the way you just put that fits perfectly with it, because I didn't even like think of it like that. Like, oh, I want you to be a certain way, or just like act a certain way. Like, if I got beef with this person, I want you to act a certain way, because I was just like, no, I can't be. Or, like, you accepting your parents is just like, I can't control what they do, but I love you guys, That's deep.
Yeah. It took a lot of shit, just being alone, for real. I spent a lot of time alone at that age, like, for sure. But like, I came to that conclusion, and I've been cool ever since, for real. Like, when it comes to that control, we all do it.
Yeah.
I get it, but you can't control what other people do and how they are gonna be.
That's true.
You gotta love them for where they're at, and just be cool with that.
Yeah.
And if you can't do it, if you don't really rock with them, then fuck it. It's not that serious.
Yeah, just move on.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
It's
There's
not
other
that deep.
people in this world.
There's a lot of other people in this world. And a lot of beautiful people, like, that you can connect with. You're gonna find your tribe. Yeah. Sometimes it takes going through a lot of people, but you're gonna find your tribe.
Yeah, that's true too. It comes to you. It takes time, but it does come to you. For sure.
But you and I both know it's harder. It's easy as a kid to make friends. as you become an adult, it's a little harder because people are, we become onions. Like these layers just grow, and then we're like these walls build up, and we're like,
from traumatic stuff, and you're like, I can't.
Yeah, I don't know if I like this about this person. I don't know if I like that. When you're a kid, you're like, you don't care.
You're like, let's be friends.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm not there yet with my parents. I can't. That's
like I said, it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
It's a process.
I think the thing I struggle most with them is learning to love them in a way of a parent. Yeah, I think that's tough for me because I didn't get, like you said, your parents did what they did, but they still supported you, showed you love kind of thing. I didn't really get that.
Yeah, okay.
So when they say, like now, when they say like, oh, I love you and stuff like that, I always get a pit in my stomach. Like it's weird. Like it's very hard for me to accept like genuine love from people. I'm like coming to realize that. And I'm like, I gotta get out of that.
I feel you. I'm kind of with you on that. Even though I may come off the way that I come off, I think deep down, I know for a fact, like I'm with you. I promise you. I'm cool, like shit, I'm accepting of people, but when it comes to like the like real deep, like accepting that, I'm with you. I promise you.
Yeah. It's a struggle for sure. That's one. It's just like my dad comes and hugs me. It's just weird. Like I'll hug back, I always give respect, hug back, say I love you back, but it's just that it doesn't go away.
Yeah.
I don't know I gotta maybe sit alone with that one day. Because I don't sit alone with myself
for many days. For years sometimes. Yeah.
He was like, sit with it for 6 months. And
definitely. It takes that. Yeah. I think that fully accepting that love part is super hard. Because I think for me, the jaded part is the sad part. And the sad reality of it all is like people are going to be people. And it's like accepting them for where they're at and like accept their love for whatever their love is. And it might be shitty. That's like, it's hard to accept that.
Yeah. I think that's why I'm also a forgiving person too, because it's just like, it's like you said, it's just like people are going to be people. And it's just like, I have no room to judge, everybody's going to do something that's not right. And it's just like, I have no place to judge that.
Yeah.
I might be mad for a little bit, but it's just like, I'll get over it kind of thing. But I'm coming to learn that that's not good with every situation. Like sometimes you just got to leave people where they're at kind of thing and just like move on.
That's true.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Some people you do have to kind of leave them where they're at.
Yeah.
For sure.
Just be like, when you heal or something, maybe we can discuss later. But right now.
That's true.
You're just not meant to be where I'm at in this space.
That's tough. That's tough sometimes.
That is tough, especially with people you care about. That is it's a tough conversation. And I feel like when you try to have those conversations, because I did try, and they take offense to it real easy. It's like, it's not even like personal.
That's how you know it's an issue. When they take offense to it, like, okay. Yeah.
It's like, it's not personal. It's just, you got to realize what's going on here.
Right. If somebody comes and approaches me about certain things that I'm like, that way with and I react like that, I know that like, oh yeah, I probably need to address that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's hard sometimes.
Yeah. Because you can't control how people react to what you're going to say.
That's true.
Like when you had that conversation with your parents, I'm sure their reactions were...
Yeah, but like I was like, I had to just get this off.
Yeah.
I had to get it off and You
can breathe now a little bit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Me and my parents is tight. We tight. Like
that's good. That's a good thing.
I'm blessed to have that because I didn't have that as a kid, and I've had. You know what? I count my blessings with that. As a kid, I've had a lot of friends whose parents like passed away, and I remember some of them being like, "Well, at least you still have your parents." And I used to think in my head, "I feel you, but like my parents not around for real. Like." They don't give me that love for real, like,
Yeah.
And when we circled the block, we all spun the block and came back together talking about like my relationship with my parents. When I was able to rekindle that and reconnect with them, I count my blessings because I feel like I got a second chance with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and a lot of people don't get that.
They don't, right? Yeah. So I had to. I got to be grateful for that.
Yeah.
Because we only here for a limited time.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure your parents love you for that too.
Nah, for sure. And shit, it taught them.
Yeah.
I was able to show them something. So it was like, okay, cool, okay, yeah.
All right, let's see. Let's dig into some stuff.
You mind if I?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Can you describe a specific moment or period in your life when you felt like you were at rock bottom?
Yeah. I would say it happened twice. And both of the times that I was at rock bottom, I was homeless.
Mm.
Yeah. So the first time I was here in Cleveland, I was homeless for like a brief moment. It wasn't a long time. And then another moment when I was in LA. But I'll more so talk about the LA one because they both kind of long stories. The first one is definitely more entertaining. That should need to be a movie in itself. But the second one, long story short, to get to that, I'm in my early 20s. I'm doing music. I'm also, when you grow up with drug addicted parents, or if you grow up in a certain setting, you kind of, well, it depends on who you are. But like for me, I attracted that.
Yeah,
So
that's true. That's very true.
I was used to being around drug addicts and people that sold dope and like people being in the streets.
Yeah.
So like I naturally gravitated towards that, and I gravitated that towards myself.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people that I was kicking it with, you know, a lot of my friends, they having these issues. But again, we're young, so you're not looking at them like alcoholics. You know, oh,
this is your friend. Like this is Joe.
Right. And Joe is 18 years old, and Joe has a serious drug and alcohol problem, but you just chalking it up to, oh, we just partying.
Yeah.
So back then, I learned like young, like, man, I'm out here working, I'm busting my ass, making money. I was the dude in my friend group that was like making the money. I had my own spot. You know, I'm in LA and like it's expensive, but I'm making moves and making this shit happen. So everybody kicking it with me.
Mm-hmm.
I got movement. We going out on the weekends. I got company cars. I was working for a company back then where we had like company cars I could take home.
Yeah.
Shit, I got a big ass SUV. I'm taking to my house. I'm picking up all my friends, like 10 of us on the weekend, piling them in, and we going to like party or whatever on the weekends. And I'm like living it up. I'm like doing great.
Yeah.
And then having those people around, I didn't realize it's really draining. It's draining your energy, but you don't realize it. At a certain point in time, I lost that job. Like, damn, I had got to a car accident. They couldn't hold me anymore on their insurance. Like, I was like a high risk liability. So they had to let me go from the company. So I don't have a car, any car. I don't have the job no more. So now I got to find some other gig or whatever that pays way less.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm like really struggling to make ends meet. And it got to a point where I ended up losing that job. Because during that time, the same lifestyle I was living before, I was still trying to live. And my friends is thinking, I'm really trying to do it for my friends. Like, I'm still trying to keep it up for everybody else around me and stuff, instead of really getting serious and like getting on my business. So I'm having like my boys or whoever like come through, we chilling, XYZ. And it's just every weekend, and it's getting draining. And at the same time, I'm doing my art. I'm trying to make all that shit pop off. But trying to pursue that and then still upkeep this lifestyle, it just became draining. I ended up losing that other job. And then no money was really coming in for real. And I ended up becoming homeless. Like, I lost my job. It wasn't because of anything, but literally the weight of all that stress. And I didn't understand that back then. Like, psychologically, I didn't understand that I was going through like a depression or just all this weight. I'm trying to like upkeep this thing. So it all came crumbling down. Boom, I was homeless. I reached out to like my friends that was been with me for like the last like however long we've been kicking it. You know, I couldn't sleep on their couch. I couldn't sleep in the spare room. I couldn't sleep on the floor. I couldn't come through. None of that. You know, it was like all the calls stopped. Nobody's picking up my phone calls. Like none of that. So I'm like, damn. You know, when I'm out there in LA, like alone. So like I ain't really had nobody for real. I had dated this chick at the time, and fortunately enough for me, you know, some people would probably be like, what the hell? Like, she didn't let you stay at the house. But we young. She was a little bit younger than me, and she was staying, like, with her parents still.
Okay.
So she's like, nah, I mean, obviously you can't stay here. Like, my parents here, but, like, you could sleep in
I would have snuck you in, like, come on.
Yeah. But she was like, you know, you could sleep in my car.
Okay.
So I'm like, cool. And, like, I loved her for that at the time, you know. It's like, yo. So for, like, several months, I'm in the back of that car every night, like, with the blanket and cuddled up. And we in L.A. And L.A. is, like, the gangbang capital of the world, okay? So, like, I'm on the block, like, in the car. And, like, I remember one night somebody tried to, like, break into the car. You know what I mean? And I'm in there, like, I get up, and it was, like, an issue, like, a little situation where they took off. But, you know, it's just, like, a wild experience. But in that moment of being homeless, to cut to the chase, I basically was like, okay, I'm at ground zero. And I'm analyzing everything that was going on in my life prior to that moment. And it was like, okay, I need to work on self-development. And mind you, this is before, like, what we have now with, like, people knowing about mental health, mental awareness, and, like, we have YouTube. Back then, we ain't had that yet like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm, like, just figuring it out by myself. Again, just being alone.
Mm-hmm.
If you're alone long enough, your mind is going to start, like, connecting the dots.
Yeah.
You know, so I just, like, was like, yo, I need to work on me. I'm homeless, yet I was like, yo, I'm about to get up every day at, like, 4, I don't know what it was, like 4 or 5 a.m. I'm about to go run and work out. I'm about to go put in these applications. I'm about to go do this, and that. And then sure enough, like, I got back on my feet.
Mm-hmm.
And I promised myself from that point on, I would never, ever put myself in a position like that again, to be homeless or to be used by people in that way. And I never have since.
Yeah, I not exactly like that, but I had a similar situation where I was, like, at a bottom, and when I hit bottom, like, a lot of people, like, turned on me, and, like, it was weird. It was just, I went to, like, a really bad depression after that. It was like people, like, I was really down for, and it was just like, it's crazy. It's just like, damn, people will turn on you just like that without, like, a thought. And it's just like, so it makes you really, like, look at people differently, for sure.
Yeah. And that reinforced the idea I have of just accepting people for where they're at.
Yeah.
I was pissed at them people.
Oh, I would have been
my
too.
So-called friends or whatever, but, like, I was like, you know what? And who knows? They might have been going through something too at that particular moment.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just like, you know what? You just gotta. I learned from all those experiences. Like, I don't expect nothing from nobody, and I don't want nothing from nobody. I don't want no strings attached to nothing from nobody. Like, shit, I'm gonna just accept you for where you are, and, like, I need the same in return.
The mentality too comes with that, because you were at bottom and you built yourself up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, you really don't need nobody. You just need you, and making sure your mental is cool, and just work. You
Most
focus
definitely
on you every day. Like, you can, so many things can happen, for real.
No, it's a fact.
Yeah. So when you were at bottom, and you said you had to do, like, some reflecting and stuff, started working out. Did, like, religion ever play a part of it? Like, did you get into, like, God, like, all right, God, I'm gonna need your guidance, or, like, any kind of belief at all, or?
Yeah, for sure. I always had, like, everybody have their own spiritual beliefs or whatever, so I respect that most definitely. But for me, I come from, like, a Christian background, so it's, like, Christian based, I guess you could say. But, at the end of the day, just my own personal relationship with God. And I definitely was, like, praying, but when I pray to God, it's like I'm just talking, like you and
to
me
the
talking.
Homie, yeah.
Right. Like, I'll have a regular conversation. I might cuss, I might do this and that, but it's coming from my heart. It's a genuine thing, and this is just language. These are just words, but I'm just expressing myself, so I'll just be talking to him. But it's like I know that higher power, my God, knows my spirit. He knows my intentions and, like, how I really am. You can't hide that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, I was definitely, like, speaking to that. But, that's
because they say that God knows your heart. And
Yeah.
that's
You can't hide that.
Yeah, if he knows your heart, that's a lot of layers to that. So it's just like, you can't hide nothing.
Yeah, you can't turn the Bluetooth off.
No.
You can't turn, you connected. Like, he know,
You could put the facade on, but that doesn't fool,
And really, at the end of the day, it's like, if you're trying to hide that from God, you're really just hiding that from yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're just lying to yourself.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's keep it real. Like, I'm big on that. We got to keep it real.
Yeah.
And those conversations, even with just ourselves, is very hard to have.
Yeah, I think, that is true. Like, being real with yourself, I think, is a hard pill for a lot of people to swallow. I'm the same way. Like, when I talk to God, I talk to him like he's a homie. Like, all right, this is what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
This is what I'm thinking. This is how I want to respond, but I know it ain't the right way. So however you want me to do it, I'm sure it'll present itself, which it always does, which is crazy to me. I think that's the craziest part of having a relationship with God, is like things show up or answers show up in a way you would never imagine. You're like, damn, I remember when I asked him about that, or you know what I mean? Yeah. So that's how I have that connection with him. I'm not too big into churches because churches can be very weird. But I'm like starting to rebuild that relationship.
What's your experience with that? It sounds like you went through something with the church thing, or?
Yeah, a little bit. Well, I'm Hispanic, so we growing up, we have like Pentecostal churches, and it's very weird. It's like women can't like shave, they have to wear skirts, it's like that kind of thing. It's very just odd. And then like when you go into churches, sometimes they just like, because I've tried out a few churches, some of them it's just like very off vibes, or it feels like very cult like. So step away, and then you try to come back and try different churches, and they're just like quick to point fingers and judge you, like, oh, it's just like, I'm just here just trying to get close to God, but my bad, let me just fall back.
Yeah. And they always chalk it up to like kind of like the iron sharpens iron idea, but it's like, nah, you kind of being controlling.
Yeah.
So I feel you.
Definitely. It's I don't know. It's hard to find like a community like that. That's just like, I'm not here to judge you. You're not here to judge me. We all here for the same thing, It's just like, they're all quick to throw stones, but then it's just like, I could do the same, but I really don't want to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, that's not what I'm here for. Yeah.
It is definitely tough. I agree wholeheartedly.
Have you been to different churches and stuff, or?
Yeah, I have. I kind of have like a little traumatic story with that too, but I definitely like grew up going to different churches, from Catholic churches to Baptist type churches, non-denominational churches, and then I kind of like, I wasn't really going to church on my own when I moved to LA. But then, I had met a couple different people that were very like heavy into Christianity in their own way. And ultimately, my little story with it wasn't that long ago, actually. It was like probably 2000, well, it's a little bit of time, but it's like probably 2017. I had basically got involved into like a cult.
Did you know it was, or you didn't realize?
Nah, of course not. Yeah, I didn't realize it was.
They're smooth with it.
Yeah, very smooth. They basically dressed it up as they were like a entertainment group that was helping young artists navigate through the industry. So it was smooth how they did it because, at that time I was by that time, this is after the homeless thing or whatever, I had built myself up and I got heavy into music, and I was in the circuit big time, like in LA. So I had finally like connected with some people from, Kendrick.
Yeah.
So I had connected with TDE, which is the label, Top Dog Entertainment. And I was kind of circulating with them. I ain't gonna go into detail and say names or anything, but like shit didn't fall through for me with that situation. But after that, I was kind of like down, like, damn, what am I gonna do with this music thing? And I met these people, and like I said, they kind of dressed it up as like they were an entertainment group, and they were.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of talented artists that were in that group. And long story short, I had just they dressed it up as that, and then I found out that they were into Christianity, And so I started going to like their prayer meetings that we're having every week. Then it was like every other day. Then I ended up moving in. Then it was like every day. And next thing you know, it's just like a very, very controlling situation and weird. And we were doing like a lot of ritualistic type of things. We weren't sacrificing animals or doing like weird sex shit, but like it was other stuff. It's just a controlling thing.
Yeah.
It was nothing like too traumatic.
Yeah.
Like we weren't, like I said, we weren't
But
sacrificing.
it just wasn't cool with you. You're like, nah.
Nah, because at the end of the day, it was about control.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it just took me a while to realize that. And finally, when I came out of it, I definitely questioned. I went through that for a purpose. And the purpose was to understand my relationship with God.
That's deep.
It took me, that happened, I was in there for like 2 years. And then for like the next year, I was like, I don't even want nothing. It would make me throw up to even think about like God or religion or anything. And I actually talked to my dad and I told him like, man, I don't know what's going on with me. I'm in this funk, like this depression. I'm jaded by everything in life. Like, I don't give a fuck about anything right now. Like, I really just don't get anything. I'm just like kind of like on autopilot. And he was like, yo, he said it was so simple. He just said, at the end of the day, nobody can tell you how to believe in God. It's a personal relationship.
That's very true.
That was it. And I was like, me going through that, and then him saying that was like you said earlier, like the light just clicked.
That's very true.
It like clicked on.
I had that's funny. It was last year I had like a conversation with someone about that. It's just like a lot of kids that grew up in the church or their parents, like really put that religion on them. And like now that some of them I know now, they're just like, they're adults and they will try to like, oh, I'm not doing that because, like the Bible says this, and that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's more so because that was so embedded in their head since they were kids. But like me knowing people for so long, it's just like, but when was the last time you picked up a Bible though?
Oh yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, just like they say words, but it's just like, but do you really have like a connection with God though? Like, like when was the last time you like truly talked to him kind of thing? Yeah. And I just like, I feel like parents, that's one thing I feel like parents got to understand. It's just like, you can't force that on a kid. That's something personal that they have to realize, teach them about it, but it's hard to explain because it's like a personal thing. It's just like you feel it in your heart, right? It's just like it's a hard thing to explain.
You're right. Yeah, how can you? I mean, I get it. You kind of try to guide your kids and whatever, but like, yeah, that's a personal relationship, and that just develops over time, like you said.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
for sure. But so you're like definitely in a better headspace
when it comes to that. Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I could be swayed by it when it came to religion and stuff before. I could kind of be swayed because I didn't dive into the Bible like that before. But trust to believe, when I was in that call, we read that Bible like a lot, so I know it. I ain't gonna say through and through, but I know it pretty well. Like, and I understand my relationship with God. Like, yeah.
What made you finally like step away from the cult? Like you was like, all right, I'm done.
It's a lot. It's like, it was just a couple different incidences that look like a horror film. In a sense, like I said, there was no wild, bloody, crazy shit.
You didn't walk in a room, there's blood everywhere.
Nah, but I definitely walk in a room and it's like, look like a seance is going on.
Oh,
or
my
like,
goodness.
Yeah. But to like summarize it up, because there's a lot to it. There's a lot of layers to like say what led to it. But the ultimate straw was I remember when we first went in there, it was a woman that ran it. She would teach us about a lot of different spiritual things. And she taught us about altars and like things that people do, like different voodoo and just different magic and stuff like that people do, weird shit that people do.
There?
That people do in the world.
Oh, okay.
Like to stay, like she was just teaching us these things to stay away from or be aware of.
I got you.
And don't get me wrong, like they taught me a lot of stuff too. There was a lot of like wisdom that I learned from the people that was in it. And by the way, a lot of those people got out of that cult. But yeah, when I first went in, she was teaching us about these different there's different weird things that people do spiritually or for spiritual reasons. So now that was like in the beginning, and now we like 2 years later, and I remember the lady told one of the girls in the call that I was in, whatever, she basically said that like God told her to tell this girl that she had to cut her hair off and burn it as a sacrifice. And when I heard that, because of other little things that were happening prior, because like I said, it'd be a really long story for me to explain those other things. Those other little things that were happening kind of were like opening my eyes a little bit. And then once she said that to this girl, I kind of was just like, what? This isn't right. Like, this don't even sound like some real, like, what are you talking about?
It doesn't even make sense.
Yeah. So I literally like left that day. I had to go to work that day. And I remember just like going to work thinking like, I'm in a fucking cult. This is wild.
Yeah.
I need to get out. I felt like I was in the reverse movie Get Out. No, dead ass. You seen that movie Get Out?
I have.
Yeah, I was in the reverse version. That shit was crazy. Yeah.
You should make like a Get Out version of the cult thing. You just packing your bags, just going.
Oh my God. Yeah, it was wild. Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's weird because it's like, but for what though? Like, that doesn't even make sense. Like, what would be the reason?
It was control. She was trying to control that girl. Yeah.
That's crazy.
To see if she would do it. And sure enough, she did. By the way, yeah.
She did?
She didn't cut it all off, but she chopped the hair.
I would have cut 2 strands.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens with that.
Yeah.
So, like, with your mental health and all that, like, did you just work out or did you, like, go to therapy? Did you, like, was there other avenues that helped you where you at? Was there, like, books? I know you said art was also a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For everybody, it's different. But definitely, like, exercise for me is big. But, you know, that's just, like, I do feel like health, like let's say physical wise, like the physical health part, I do feel like that. And obviously, you have like your gym rats and like muscle heads is like, and like chicks is like doing way too much for sure. But just I'm talking about like just physical fitness side, I do think it's important for the average human, like for everybody out there to like to move, to have movement in their life, like go run, go on a walk, go stretch, do yoga, work out, hit the gym, do hard things.
Yeah.
I think that is vital. I've always incorporated that, and I feel like that kind of shakes your system up, shakes your body up. It gets things moving. It gets your nervous system moving. This depression that we go through, like these different things. Sometimes when we just like kind of sit and we are, what do you call that? When you just like settle,
you get comfortable.
Stagnant.
Oh, stagnant.
Yeah, when you just kind of stagnant and not really moving, we fall into like this depression. We fall into these just like lethargic moods. But it's like, man, if you can get up and do the hard shit and like shake that off, and like it kind of like gets you going.
It really does. It definitely like your mind kind of shifts in a different way. I've noticed that too with working out. It just like, I don't know, it's just something just like changes. You know, like, all right, like what else am I going to do today? You know, like it makes you like get going with the day. Like it makes you want to do more with your life instead of just like sitting there eating chips, watching TV.
It's funny because people think the opposite will happen. Like I'm going to go work out and I'm going to be tired.
No, it's like an energy. Yeah, it really is weird. It's like an odd energy. Like your body's like happy. Like, all right, let's do it. Now what? You know what I mean? Like there's times I like done and then like an hour later I'm like, damn, I could like do something, like I can exercise again, honestly.
Right.
Yeah. So definitely is important for sure.
Yeah.
I think like when it comes to weight, I think majority of the time you could kind of tell like what people's like mental health is at. You know,
that's true.
Like 80% of the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because sometimes there's like health, or if a woman's pregnant, you know, of course that plays factor. But most of the time you can definitely tell like people's like mental health.
Yeah, that's true. I agree.
So yeah.
But it's people that's super fit too that's like off.
That's true. As I say, there's like people that work out and there's people that do too much.
Yeah.
And I think people that do too much is not all the way there. It's just, that's I guess, our personal opinion.
Nah,
But
yeah. No, there's people I work with at my job that's like definitely on steroids, and they'll say it. They'll tell you
that's so
they on
sad.
testosterone or TR. A
Yeah.
lot of men are doing that now, like heavy.
Like, you don't have to be that big.
Yeah,
There's
and
no
like
reason for it.
they are wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I think I knew
Shit
someone
crazy.
that used to be on like horse steroids or something like
Yeah,
that.
that's
Like
that's a real thing. I've
I'm
heard people
like,
at my like job that be talking about that. I'm
yeah, and I saw it like, and I'm like, no, there's no way. Like, you really about to.
That's crazy, right?
I couldn't. I couldn't bring myself to that. That's funny.
I'm gonna come in here next time. You're gonna be jacked.
No, not like that. Or like when the women do the competitions. Like
Oh yeah, it's wild.
nah.
You're not doing that?
No, there's a line, and that's not the line for me. Would you be like,
Nah, hell
no?
no.
Like, you're okay with how you are now?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all want like a little bit of,
some improvement.
But yeah. I mean, I'm cool. I'm not stressing about it. It's more about, it's honestly that for me, staying working out is more about like heart health, keeping that heart pumping, like keeping it strong.
Yeah,
I feel like that's the most important part, and just staying moving, like keep moving. Yeah, I feel like that's just important.
I be seeing like videos of like these women that are like in their 50s, 60s, and they work out daily, like nothing crazy. They work out and they look amazing. And I'm like, and you see some other people that are like in their 60s and they look like run down. It's just like exercise really does.
It does
change your body like dramatically.
1000%. Yeah.
I was like, dang, I never thought. It's just like basically if you don't use it, you lose it. So if you're not using your muscles and not,
it don't really have to. I feel like it doesn't really have to do with your biological age. It has to do with. It does have to do with age in the sense of like as you get older and you're not working out, your body's gonna start to break down because you're not using your muscles. You're not using your blood's not flowing like it could. And so over time, age it's gonna like wear out, but it's not because you're getting older that you become stiff and decrepit. It's because you're not using it.
Yeah,
I do feel like that.
It's very true though.
Eventually, of course, like if you get to like 80, 100, like you're not gonna be 20.
Yeah,
so
but you might have to slow down a lot.
Yeah. I mean, shit, still push to do what you can, but it's not gonna be the same. But shit, at least I do feel like just move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's worth it for sure, especially in the long run. But let's see. Let's tap into some stuff here. So let's go back to your childhood. What experiences from your childhood shaped your sense of self and identity?
It's been like a long road with that. Along with like other little traumatic things I went through as a kid. So I had this thing that happened when I was in kindergarten or whatever. And I think like maybe like a generation or two before me, they used to hit kids in school. Like that was a common thing, I think.
Yeah. I've heard of that.
Maybe like with our parents or our grandparents, they used to like get hit in school.
Get the ruler.
Yeah, that. So that was, they did away with that. Like, so when I was in school, that wasn't a thing. However, I remember I went to 3 different kindergartens, right? I remember how I was in the first kindergarten I went to. I was like real lively, outgoing, outspoken, real friendly, like trying to include everybody and everything. The second kindergarten I went to, I used to get, I ain't gonna say beat, but I used to get hit by the teachers, right?
Yeah.
And like my hair would get pulled, I get my face shoved into like the corner, like hit. And
nobody could tell me that with my kid. I think I would murder someone.
For sure. So that was going on, and they would like do scare tactics with me. Like they would make me miss my bus.
Yeah.
Like we would have to catch the bus to go home. Like they would make me miss it. You know, you like 4 or 5 years old. You're not knowing.
Yeah.
Like what's going on for real. And I became scared and like closed up. I never said anything to my parents. I never said anything to anybody. I went to the 3rd kindergarten. And I remember like when I first went in, I was cool, like probably like the first hour or two. And I think I didn't have like some supply that we were supposed to bring to school. And the teacher was like, why don't you have that? My immediate reaction was to cry, right? Like, oh shit. I guess at the time I'm thinking like she might hit me or do
Yeah, she
something
about
to
to
me.
yoke me up. Yeah.
Right. So I started crying. Literally from probably kindergarten all the way up until like 6th, 7th grade, I used to cry in school.
Oh, wow.
Anytime anything would happen like that from an authoritative figure, I would close up, I would cry, I would say I was sick. Can you call my mom? I need to go home.
Yeah.
I was doing that throughout that whole time. And my mom being her, she's so like, she didn't know what was going on with me. And she was so nice and everything. She would like, shit, like most of the time let my ass come home from
Yeah.
school or whatever. But I was like just developing this thing of like, I'm the kid in school that cries. I don't have any friends for real. Cause you know, I'm the kid in school that cries. Who's gonna be friends with him? So that happened for a long time. And then eventually one day I was like, I'm not doing this no more. I can't do this no more.
Yeah.
Like I'm not a weirdo, but I feel like a fucking weirdo.
Yeah, like I gotta stop crying.
Yeah, like basically. And my mom, she used to do this thing with us, with me and my siblings or whatever. If we was like bad, she would make us go in the newspaper, pull up like an article from the newspaper and write a summary about it. Like we would have to read it and then write a summary about it. That was like her way of like punishing us. But really it was like helping us, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I remember I pulled up the newspaper one day and I seen that these two teachers from the school that I used to go to, the elementary, these two teachers, they got locked up basically for abusing kids. And it was the same school. I was like, oh shit, I had forgot really. I had kind of forgot about it.
Yeah.
And when I read the paper, I was like, oh shit. And then I told my mother about what happened. But by this time, I'm in middle school.
Yeah.
And she's like, why didn't you ever say anything? I was like, I don't know. I think I was just scared. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
probably thought it was normal too, because as a kid, you don't know. You know, like when an adult does something, you know, it's just like, all right, well, I'm being bad. So
no,
maybe I just.
That was the thing. I didn't know it was normal because I was the only kid getting that treatment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. At least I think I was the only kid who was getting that treatment. And no, it had me like closed up.
That's insane.
And so I'm saying that to say like it made me develop into these, it just, I don't know what I'm trying to say. It just like, it gave me a big problem with authority. Like I always, even to this day, like I have an issue with authority. Like it's a trigger for me.
Yeah.
If somebody tries to tell me what to do or how to do something or corrects me even, I have to really like tone myself down, even if it's from a friend and they trying to tell me like, bro, you fucking up, you doing X, Y, Z, you moving funny. I have to like be accepting that they're checking me in a friendly way.
I have a hard time with that too. When people like try to tell me something about myself, and normally it's for like, all right, Ty, you know, maybe you need to not do this and that. I do take like offense to that, but I'm also trying to work on that too. It's just like trying to come to the understanding like, all right, these people has my best interest, at heart. So, but that's a hard, because I'm very like defensive as well. But I think that's also a childhood thing. So.
It is. I think it comes from a lot of things, but yeah, I would just say though that childhood experience, I mean, amongst other things, but that childhood experience definitely shaped me into who I am.
That's crazy.
And then reflecting though, also too, that made me introverted, which made me dive into my art and my sketchbooks. You know, I was that kid in school that drew like nonstop. You know, you practicing something every day, you're gonna get better at it. And I unconsciously was getting better at doing art. And then eventually like people was taking note, like, yo, this guy's like really good at art. So now I'm like, oh, y'all like my art? You know what I'm saying? So then that makes me want to do it even more. And so I really dove deep into the art after that, and I developed into who I am. So because of that trauma experience I went through, I think that definitely played a big part in me becoming the artist that I am today.
Do you remember like the first book you picked up and started drawing? Like, do you remember that? Or like what initially like got you in it, like that moment? Or are you just
Shit,
every day.
I really like kind of from day one. Like I mean, I hear stories. I don't remember, but like probably like since I was like 3 or 4, I'll be
So it
drawing.
was always in you.
It was kind of always there, but
Yeah.
I mean, though that experience just like magnified it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It was like it was there.
Like you dove deeper into it.
Yeah. And then, but I would say like it really clicked for me when I was in high school. I remember because for years I was trying to be good at art. I really wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was in high school and I was up late one night trying to hurry up and finish a project. I was procrastinating and I had like this big art show coming up and it was the day before. And I had these art pieces and then they were cool. It was all right. But I remember I was like probably like 4 a.m. I'm sitting in the bathroom and I'm drawing a real life picture of the sink. And my pops, he had like came into the bathroom and he was like, "What are you doing?" He was like trying to use the bathroom, right? He like, "It's 4 a.m. What the fuck are you doing? Like you have school in the morning." But I'm up like drawing this picture and he's seen it. He like, "Holy shit, that's amazing." It was like for the Scholastic art show or whatever. And like I had like, and like for that drawing, I had like won a gold key. But that wasn't even the part. In that moment, like somewhere in that night, everything clicked for me. It was like I had been trying to get good. I'm looking at my friends' drawings. I'm like, man, y'all are so raw. Like, how are you this good? I feel like I wasn't there. But somewhere in there, just like, it just clicked.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since, I've been like,
just running with it.
Yeah. That was definitely a life-changing moment.
Have you ever thought about doing like, since you like really like that, have you ever thought about doing like digital art or anything like that?
I mean, I do, but not like heavy. Yeah, not heavy.
Does it not pique your interest at all, or?
It definitely does. I think it's more so like the time management and the other things I'm pursuing. Yeah, like it's there. Mm-hmm. The one thing I think, honestly, I think about all artists is like it's there, and yeah, it could die if you let it stay stagnant for a while. It could die off.
Yeah,
but it's always in you at the same time. So I do like brush up on my stuff every once in a while. And I think I do exercise those skills in other ways, such as like the editing of the video, Jeffrey's house.
Mm-hmm. You do a real good job with that.
I appreciate it. Yeah. It's a lot of hours to go into that. And it's a lot of details and cutting. And I'm big on details. So like I go like frame by frame on some stuff. Yeah, that shit takes time.
Does it? Yeah. You probably just don't go to sleep, do you?
There is times that I literally don't go to sleep. Like, and like, but I don't even be upset about it. I work.
You're just in the mode.
I'll be at my job working 10 hours a day, and I'm not necessarily gonna say where I work on here, but like, just know that like my job it's like life threatening every day, and it's a hard job and it's a very toxic job, and I mean that like in the sense of like we're breathing and shit that's like not good for you. I work at a job that you could die literally if you step in the wrong place, like you could die.
Oh, wow.
So, it's a hard job, but like even still with that, I will stay my ass up the whole night working on those videos because I'm so passionate about it. And yeah, I'm losing sleep, but like it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like it's hard.
Yeah.
I'm just driven. Like we were saying at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like you doing this podcast that you're doing now.
It just like flowed. So it's
just like, like you would lose sleep over this.
Yeah, I would.
You'll spend maybe, I ain't gonna say your last dollar, but you're gonna spend for this. Like you're gonna invest into this, everything that you have, whether it's money, physically, mentally, spiritually, like you're gonna invest in this and it's gonna feel right. That's how you know it's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It did. It definitely did. Like I thought about making a podcast like 2 years ago. I just didn't know of what, because I felt like everything was already talked about or was already come up with. And I'm sure probably what I'm trying to do with this probably is, but I just didn't want to talk about nothing. You know what I mean? Like it seems like there's just like a lot of talk about, mainly it's just like, seems like just sex and drugs and stuff like that. And it's just like, I don't want to just talk about nothing. I want to talk about something.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then that's just, I was just like, at work and it came to me.
Yeah.
The name, the idea, it was just so random. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, that's how it
Years
be. That's how
later.
you know. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and then like I like went home and like made like a logo. It's simple, but I made a logo.
No,
I
I
just
love it.
like
I
I'm
love the
just
color too.
do
Yeah,
you? Yeah. I'm trying to get like shirts and stuff made
Yeah.
too. But yeah, it's just like it flowed and it's just like going. And it's crazy too, because yesterday I have like a checklist and I haven't looked at that checklist for like a month or like a couple months actually. And on there, it said like to have a space for my podcast because I have equipment, but I would have felt better if it was like in a space.
Mm-hmm.
And it was on the checklist. And I was like, that's crazy because I had this space. I didn't even think of that. I was like, it's signs that's like, all right, it's meant to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels
so
like
I
it
get
is.
it. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels right. So I hope it takes off, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so what got you into music though? Because like drawing the music, because not everybody that can draw can sing.
Right.
And not everybody that can sing can draw. So like
No,
what
for
got
sure.
you in there?
It definitely was. So at the time, like in the era that I was in at the time when I first started, okay, so I had like a group of like friends or whatever. I was the GOAT, like when it came to drawing, like doing art or whatever. But like my friends could draw too, but once I like hit that peak that I was telling you about, like once I knew I could draw, like I was like a prodigy, low key, like with the art.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not being boastful or whatever. Like it clicked for me. And my circle of friends or whatever did art too, or were inspired to because I was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And you could tell like it was my purpose. And when you find somebody like in anything, like whether it's a musician or an actor, like the people that surround them are probably going to be inspired and want to do the same thing because they see this like greatness coming out of this person. So they inspired to do that too.
Right.
Even though that might not be their calling, but they're going to probably try their hand at it.
Yeah.
So my clique of friends or whatever at the time was like, oh yeah, everybody did art back in when you were in school. Everybody drew a little bit, whether it was an art class or whatever, or attempted it. So I had friends really diving deeper into it because I was doing it on a regular. I was the type of dude like, shit, by high school, like, everybody going out kind of getting fucked up, going to parties and stuff, want to hang out, go to the movies, do the mall thing. But for me, I was like, shit, I'm in my room, I'm just drawing. I'm passionate about this. Hey, what's up, Trav, you want to come hang out? No, I'm drawing, I'm doing my thing.
Yeah.
So I was big into graffiti. I was big into like listening to music while we doing the art. But that really came like from the homies I was kicking it with.
Yeah.
They was into the music. They was into rap and all this stuff. Like, so I was listening to it. We would like go to one of my homies' houses and like literally they'd be like playing music. They'd probably be sipping or smoking or whatever. And I'd be sitting there drawing and they would sit there and draw. We just bumping music the whole time. And in that era was the era of like the fake gangster, like the fake gangster era and people getting called out for like being fake gangsters on the records or whatever.
Yeah.
And the whole time I've come from this life of like being surrounded by drugs or like street shit that was going on. And I'm really kind of living this life. And I'm like, man, my story could be told like in this way, in this other avenue. And I never really thought about it. And so I was like, yo, I could do this and like tell my real story, like my real life. And so I just jumped into like doing music. So me and my friends started like doing the ciphers, the freestyling thing and like rapping. And I was always like kind of like the melody man. Like if it's like we put on a beat and freestyle to it, I would be the one to like come up with a melody and it always be catchy. And this is, remember, like this is before like the style of like in the rap world, like this is before like the Migos came out or like Travis Scott or like the melody stuff really came into play. Back then I was just doing the melodies and it would always catch. It would always be something catchy and then somebody come in with a verse and rap or whatever. Then, I would rap too, but like I was more with the melody. And so that just like had me like wanting to do music. And so I'm gonna say it here. I ain't gonna say no names. However, back then I used to like rob, like I used to like
Yeah.
be in the streets for real. So I used to like break into people's houses and steal shit, whatever.
Yeah.
So at the time I had probably like a couple years later after I started doing the music, and I was just doing it like that, freestyling or maybe writing in a notebook or whatever. I ended up like stealing somebody's computer, and I went to my house, brought it back to my house, and I had like 2 old dirty mattresses and like an old sheet. I went to the store. I had like bought a microphone. I had bought like a program to edit music, and I loaded it into the computer and like set up my own studio and like taught myself how to engineer, like off of just doing that. So, and then same thing, like I was just locked in. Like it was work, because this is like out of high school. Like I didn't really start making music till after high school, and that's how I really first started really like making my own music. I got the computer, I made my own studio, and just taught myself how to engineer. And again, we didn't have tutorials online back then.
Yeah, you were
I had
figuring
to
it out
just
on your
figure
own.
that shit out.
Yeah. Like, damn, what equipment I need.
Yeah.
And what, yeah. So did you get into like rapping, or did you like get into multiple things to see
really,
what fit you?
it was like the rap at first, I'm not gonna lie, like straight just rapping. And then it was like, you trying to find your identity into that. You try to like, especially like, I mean, for women, I'm sure it's its own thing. But for like me at the time, as a like young dude in the streets, it was like a macho chismo thing. Like, yeah, I'm outside and I'm doing X, Y, Z. And I was kind of like playing that up, and I was outside and I was doing those things. But it's like you kind of play it up a little bit too because it's entertainment.
Yeah.
But it's like kind of creating a false identity in a sense. So like I definitely went through that for years, trying to find my voice and trying to figure out what I like. And, that just developed from there. Just like I had to find my own voice, and I kind of just dove more into the melody. I kind of dove more into Caribbean music. I do more like lean into like the Caribbean style music.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I have to hear that.
I always have had a love for that. Yeah.
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 Yeah, I gotta check that out. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought you like sang and rapped. I
Yeah.
didn't know the Caribbean side.
I mean, it's so I try to basically sing and rap, but with Caribbean style beats or music. That's something that I've been kind of trying to pursue for years. And then more so recently, I'm like, let me just do that. Like, what am I doing? Like, let me just do that.
And I think, because you hear on the radio, there'd be some, like one song you hear that has that vibe, and a lot of people really dig that. So I think this is definitely be the time to do that for sure.
Yeah, it's crazy because I've been wanting to do that probably since like 2000, like 10, 12, somewhere in there. Like I had this team of producers in LA called 7 Days. And it's like a bunch of different individuals that just make beats. They don't rap, they don't do nothing else, but they make beats. And they into production and stuff. And so I remember back then when I first linked with them, I was telling them like, y'all, we need to get on like the dance hall wave or the Afro beats. Like, I'm just telling you, like, this shit is hitting.
Yeah.
But they wasn't feeling me. They was like, nah, like at that time it was like all about trap music or whatever. So I was still rapping over trap beats and doing that and doing my melodies over top of that. But eventually, actually when I was in that call, I ended up making a song with one of the other artists on a Caribbean style beat. And when I tell you, like, it just grabbed me. I grabbed like immediately, like I wrote my verse to the song that we made so quick. It was like it just came naturally. And then even after that, I didn't make more songs like that right away.
Yeah.
But more recently, I was like, I really need to dive into this and stop bullshitting. Yeah. And that's it.
Yeah, I think you should definitely do that.
Yeah, I'm going to show you this single that I have. It's called How You Do That.
How You Do That?
How You Do That, yeah.
You should definitely. I was going to say something. I totally forgot what it was. But you should, yeah, I think you should because, that's what it was. I think people are coming to a point where they're like over rap because a lot of people that are coming up into rap, or a lot of them are trash. So I think people are kind of craving that new, something new, that flavor, that beat. I think that's why Bad Bunny blew up, because he was just different. Because he definitely changed like the whole reggaeton scene, because reggaeton had a beat and it stuck with it, but he totally flipped that.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think it's needed, so definitely you should do that.
Yeah, he definitely brought life back to that world. Definitely, because before him, it was like, I don't know how to say that, like Wyson and Yandel.
Oh, we seen,
yeah. So like, I just remember that era, especially being in LA.
Yeah,
you know, that's the culture. Like the Latin culture out in LA is like heavy. So that music, especially like all of my homies in LA, the type of music we was listening to, that was like the era it was stuck in for a while. And then more, like you said, recently, like Bad Bunny come out.
Yeah, I think you definitely should. And whatchamacallit, I don't know, do you know Jelly Roll? He's like him. He said he's got told no twice by all the recording artists.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And now he's just like blowing up after he's been told no so many times. So people may have told you no in the past, but I think you should definitely pursue that for sure. Because I think this world is like craving something new.
Yeah.
And
yeah, most definitely. Yeah. I'm definitely gonna share that with you.
So this year there better be an album.
Yeah, there's definitely gonna be an album at the end of the year. Right now, to be honest with you, I'm really.
I was kidding. You didn't.
I'm gonna give you one. I'm gonna give it for you for the podcast. Is this thing on? Yeah. I might have to name it after the. Is this thing on?
That'll be cool.
That's wild.
Because you don't know what's coming. Like, what is it? And then you start like, is it on? And then just have the whole Caribbean beat.
I'm gonna have to think about it. But definitely singles this year. I'm focused on that. You know, like I said, everything else I'm doing is kind of leading up to the music, really, and just like showing that sound to the world, you know, in my own way. But that also doesn't mean I'm straying away from like other types of music. I still do enjoy rap. I enjoy like R&B. I enjoy even some like popish type of sounds or whatever.
Yeah. The first time I saw you, I seen you perform, it was like, because I've been around the music scene for a while. I don't do music, but I just know a lot of people in it. And I seen you and I was like, who the fuck is this dude? I was like, I've never seen him before, but you're actually pretty good. There's people that there's people that get on stage, you know, their music is okay. And I'm like, who is this? How come I've never seen him anywhere? Like, it was weird. I was like, well, but you do, you have good, you have good music.
I appreciate it,
Yeah. I was like, where'd he come from? Thin air? Like, what is this?
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's switch it up a bit. Let's talk about relationship. How did your relationships from the past or right now with others play a role in your journey of life?
Romantic relationships.
Yeah.
Or family relationships.
Romantic.
Okay.
Or if you want to talk about family too.
Right, yeah. Romantically, I would say, so I just learned this recently, that we attract a person. How did she put it? So I have a therapist too, like you were saying, like, and I just started seeing them recently.
Like you attract what you are kind of thing?
No, we kind of talked about the concept of like, you attract your parent. You heard that concept before?
Yes, I've heard that.
So like, but my therapist at the time, she said it in a different way. She said you attract the person that you not feared most, but like, what's the word? I forget how she said it. Like the one that you were like most obedient to or like listen to, or the one that, I don't know how she said it, but basically like that authoritative figure that you grew up around that you were on your like best behavior with, or like whatever with. You know what I'm saying? So for years I heard that like you date your parent. But I remember like the people that I actually like fell in love with were nothing like my parents. You know, my parents is like laid back and chill and like actually pretty cool. And they on drugs, you know what I'm saying? So it's like I wasn't really into that type of person. And if I met that type of person, we might have had a fling, but I might have fell out of it quick. Like I wasn't into it. People I actually ended up like falling for was more so stubborn, staunch. It's their way or no way. and that was my grandmother. She was big time like that. Like, what she say go, like, you gotta, like, why are you wearing that? Like, go change, go do this and that. Like, I couldn't be myself. You know, it was always like tiptoeing around.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't realize it till like recently. But I had dated somebody years ago. I was like a 5-year relationship, and that basically was, it was toxic for me. And then I didn't date anybody for years. Like, I mean, I wasn't with anybody officially for years. I would date, you know, and just be in situationships with people for long periods of time.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them would layer each other, you know what I mean? So when I came back here to Cleveland, I had met somebody and I was with them for like damn near 3 years. And then it was literally like I ain't gonna say they was the same person, but it was the person I dated recently compared to the other relationship I was in, they were like very similar.
Mm.
And they both had similar characteristics to my grandmother. And it kind of like unfolded in therapy. It was like, oh shit, wow.
Yeah,
I don't need that bullshit in my life.
You're like, from here on out, I'm done.
Yeah, I'm not dealing with that.
Yeah.
Not at all. So, I mean, I don't know. You said how has it shaped who I am now?
Yeah.
I don't know. I do know this, boundaries. I would say that I learned about boundaries through all of this. And yeah, there's just certain like flags. If I see them, they say like, watch out for red flags, but they don't say like, you have to know what your red flags are. What's your boundaries?
That's true.
And yeah, I definitely feel like I'm paying way more attention to that now.
I think I put that on my post for the podcast. I think it's like having boundaries isn't for the person, it's for you.
Yes.
It's for yourself. Because once you set those lines, you know, you notice the more peace that's around you, kind of thing. I'm also learning that too, how to set boundaries with like people and stuff and relationships. I'm learning that as well. But in order to learn that, you have to learn yourself though.
Yeah,
so it's like, it comes one and the same. But I'm kind of liking it, setting the whole boundary thing. It's still a learning curve, but definitely in relationships, you need that. I've dealt with relationships in the past where I look back on it and I'm like, why did I even accept that as a person? Like, what was I thinking?
It's the people pleasing thing.
Yeah, it goes back to that.
Yeah, for sure.
What was it? Codependency.
Yeah. And then like, you know, it's tough sometimes, but like stepping up and setting that boundary with a person may be kind of hard to do. Mm-hmm. It might be like a little nerve-wracking, like, damn. But shit, you got to do it and let that person know, like, this is what it is.
Yeah.
Because if I'm with you, I don't know, I feel like there is a difference between you and like your best friends or your homies and your partner that you're with. There's going to be a difference. But at the same time, it's like, I want to be my partner's friend. Like,
I feel the same way. Like, I feel like
I want to be comfortable around you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be tense. It shouldn't be walking on eggshells. Mm-hmm. It shouldn't like, damn, should I? Like when you say something to them, it's just like you're in your head like, damn, are they going to start arguing? They're going to start, you know, kind of thing. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It is. I definitely agree. Like, for me with relationships, they definitely have to be like a best friend kind of thing.
Yeah.
It definitely has to be like that. Cause it's like, at the end of the day, you're with that person. And like, when I'm with someone, it's like, I'm like thinking like future kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Like, can I be comfortable with you always? Because you're who I'm going to be with for like the rest of my life. So that's definitely a big thing.
I agree.
They should be. It is different from your homies, but your significant other should be that for sure. Yeah, I agree with you.
Definitely.
Amongst other things, everybody has their other things when it comes with that. But what else did you like learn with boundaries? Like, was it like that was the one thing? It's just like you got to be my homie kind of thing.
I was gonna say something else about that.
We got brain fog today.
Yeah, a little bit. Nah, I would say, just being firm in like what I believe and what I want. I definitely know, like, you know, in my last like serious relationship, this is another one. I gotta say this, but before I do, I just dealt with somebody that wasn't into me doing music. I dealt with somebody that wasn't into like super into my art thing, super into any like really wasn't into like what I do on a regular basis for real.
Well, how did you know that? Was she like
Oh, she was very like the thing about it is that she was very vocal about it.
Oh,
Yeah, no, she was a very blunt person, and I love that about people. People that's not passive aggressive and able to just say how they feeling and be honest all the time. I love that. However, like you could be blunt and honest and still be, I mean, and definitely be an asshole. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, she definitely said like she told me, you know, that was kind of her boundary. Like she didn't want to be with somebody that did music. She didn't want to be with somebody that did art or whatever. It was like, you know, I got to go do shows. I might have to do videos. I might be in the studio. I might have to go do a photo shoot. I might have to work with some other artists. They might be female, you know what I mean? And it might be an issue for that person.
It is challenging being with an artist. It's definitely a lot.
Yeah.
Like if you're on the other side of it,
yeah,
you know, there's a lot that come to it, and it could be intimidating at times. So I can kind of see your perspective. But then it's also like, this is what I love.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you shouldn't really try to take that from someone either.
Well, and then the other part of that is like, I used to tell that person like, it doesn't matter if I'm doing music or anything else. Like, we're still gonna run into these issues. Like, just because I do, she, you know, would use the term like groupies, like, oh, you gonna have groupies around or whatever. But I'm like, you could work in the medical field and have groupies. Yeah. You could work in the pizza shop and have groupies. You know,
you could be at McDonald's and there's this girl coming every day trying to get French fries.
1,000%. Yeah. So it's like, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. Like, it's still gonna be there. That's just life. You know what I mean? You could track a person's phone, their location. You could always check their phone. You could, you know what I mean? Everything. But if that person still, but my point is like, you could have all of that. And if that person still wants to like do some shit behind your back, they're going to find a way.
That's very true.
So it's like, you got to just accept the person for who they are and what they are. And if that shit happens, it sucks. But you can't control them. Yeah. You gotta
let the control go.
You gotta let the control go. It's tough. I get it. It's tough. I know it's probably hard for that person I was with, but it's tough, but it is what it is.
Yeah. It's like there's the expectation or the control of it, and then there's just the reality of like what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, true, I could have groupies, but there's groupies anywhere you go. The reality is I can't help how someone views me or like me. You know, it's just like, just know I'm here, just doing what I love.
But us as artists too, though, like, we do. I mean, it's part of our duty too. Like, if we're in relationships, that we do have to be transparent with our partner and just be like, look, you know what I mean? Maybe reassuring to our partner, like, you know, you gotta let your person know, like, I feel like you should be reassuring to your partner.
Yeah, you should.
Everybody get insecure. That's normal. Yeah. Like, and know that your partner might be insecure sometimes. Shit, but if you like transparent with them and open with them about everything, and you know, it'd be fine.
Yeah, but the transparency didn't work out, I guess.
Yeah, I guess not.
It just didn't work out. Yeah, the knowing the location though, that's much.
Yeah. I wasn't there with that person, but yeah, I'm just saying, like, in general, like, if people do go to those extremes.
Yeah, but then I think at that point, it shows like what they need to work on in themselves. Like, why do you have such an insecurity with me if I've never like done anything to you? You know what I mean? So I think that person just needs maybe do some self-reflection, maybe a little bit of therapy of just like why, you know. I think that's just what it is. When someone is toxic towards a person, especially in relationships, if somebody's doing something to you, no matter what that looks like, that's just more a them thing than a you thing. And I think when we're in relationships, we think it's like us. Like, damn, like, what am I doing wrong? For sure. What am I, you know?
And you want to go above and beyond for that person.
Yeah.
But like, I think when you start doing that, trying to go above and beyond is when shit starts fucking up.
Yeah, it drains you.
Yeah, it drains you. And yeah, that's when things start to flip. I was going to say the other thing about the boundaries, I just thought about it right now, was if you're with somebody that when y'all get into an argument, and they call you out your name.
Oh yeah.
So like this could be something small. Let's say like you with somebody, they call you out your name in an argument, and you know this person maybe have a traumatic background, and you might be like an understanding person. You might be like, okay, they was just mad. They was just mad. I let this one slide. I might check them on it, but I'm gonna let it slide.
Yeah.
Okay, it's cool.
In the heat of the
And
moment.
then they do it again later on. Like maybe it might be 8 arguments from now. They do it again. And you kind of let it slide. But once that becomes a pattern, that just shows the disrespect. Because it's like, if that person had a kid, would they call their kid out their name like that? And
No.
if they did, how would you look at that person? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you can't, that's a boundary for me. I won't accept that, like, at all. Like, getting called out your name and all that stuff. Like,
yeah, no, you shouldn't, because if you genuinely love the person and respect the person, there's no need to cross that line in any way, shape, or form. Like, I feel like, to me, if a woman calls a man like a bitch, like, that just says a lot about that chick right there. She's like, you have no respect for your man in any way, shape, or form.
1000%, yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't. I would never do that.
Yeah.
I don't think I could bring myself to it, but to see other people, it's just, that's nah. Yeah, that's a line for me too. Like, if a guy calls me out, I might swing.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like, I'm mad. Like, what did you just call me?
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, calling people out their name, like, for what? Because you really can't. It's like, bro, what?
Because if the shoe was on the other foot, it'd be a problem.
Oh, 1000%.
A big one.
You can't really come back from that. I'm very careful with my words with people.
Yeah.
Because you can't.
As you should.
You cannot come back from that. You could be loose at the tongue and like say what you want, but it's like now what's the relationship gonna be? Like, I would do that with my homies, and like, if I called them out the name, it's like we can't really come back from that.
Yeah.
You know,
it's very true, because it makes you view the person very differently. Makes you, it puts them at a place where you're just like, I'm just gonna put you over here.
Yeah. So,
and they always, and like, I hate when people joke around and try to dish you in a joke.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's just like, all right, there's a little truth behind that then.
Yeah.
Or that's how you kind of feel. Even though you're trying to be joking around about it. But it's just like, all right, what's the deal though, for real?
Yeah.
Like, why'd you have to try to throw that jab? Like, was it necessary?
Right.
Did you really need to say it? So it kind of
that part.
Yeah.
You didn't. Yeah.
No, you don't have to. So people just gotta watch what they say. And maybe situations will be better.
Yeah,
relationships
definitely.
And stuff. So what would you, if there's a kid out there listening right now and they're dealing with parents that, you know, are dealing with an addiction and stuff like that, what advice would you give that kid?
Man, it's tough. I honestly don't know. Like, I would just be encouraging to that kid, you know what I mean? Building them up. I think that's the main thing. It's not much you could say. Yeah. I mean, what are you going to, I don't know. I'd have to really think about that, but I definitely believe in encouragement and just putting belief into a child. I think that is definitely what helped me get through.
Yeah.
And I had that, I remember those moments from different, maybe teachers or maybe like, I've had that from like other teachers, like when I was in school. People knew my situation, and I had older people, or just older people in general, would always just like be the ones that were like encouraging and putting that belief in me. That shit helped me through.
Yeah.
You know, so I definitely would just encourage them.
Yeah.
To keep or find something, or just, I'm big on that though. Like, I want you to see the light. Like,
yeah,
you know, it's gonna be good. Yeah.
It is. It always ends up being good at the end. You just got to push through all the bullshit that comes around the corner.
And reality, yeah. But like reality too. Like, I think I'm big on that. Like, showing kids, like, let's not dress anything up. Let's like talk about the real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like, definitely, like, for me, I would definitely like, showing love is like a big thing, because there's so many kids out here that don't have a lot of love, and it like shows so much.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Oh, and also too, like, the victim mindset. A lot of people have that, and a lot of people will develop that from that, especially when you were a kid and you like publicly knowingly going through something, and people are around you like, oh my God, I'm so sorry that you going, like your parents is on drugs and you going through this. I think that can create this victim mindset,
Mm.
you know, and then you start to look for that.
A victim mindset, a bit of a false identity as well. I think a little bit with that.
Yeah. So I definitely would, and I would definitely show the real to the kids, and also encourage like hard work and like independence and like, yeah, standing on your own too.
Yeah.
You know, not tough love, but kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's needed.
Yeah.
For sure. Tough love, but
but encouraging.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm big on the encouragement.
Encouraging love.
Yes.
Yeah. But if I gotta be tough.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I get it. Well, all right. Well, I think we're gonna end it there for now. But just to talk to the people out there, as we reach an end to this podcast, I want to leave you with a message. It's easy to let our past define us, to let the lows and challenges we faced overshadow our potential. But here's the truth. We have the power to conquer anything, and it all starts with a shift in perspective. Remember, it's not about what happened to us, but how we respond to it. So let's embrace the lessons learned. Let's grow from our experiences, and let's rewrite our own narratives. Together, we can rise above our past and create a future filled with endless possibilities. Until next time.